Oh,
So, Rings of Power. I have not made anyone watch this,
oh,
mainly
thank
because I
God.
don't want to watch it. I'm incredibly bored of it. I haven't watched this week's episode. I watched last week's episode. It was really, really boring. Nothing happened. It's a lot of fraud. The best way to describe it is fraudulently fraudulently thespian language. It's as if someone has quite literally, it's as if someone had input into AI, write me a script for Rings, a Lord of the Rings spin-off series. It's this weird. It's just not quite right. It's a lot of word salad, and nothing is really said, and it's just nonsense. It's a bizarre attempt to be very sort of Shakespearean. It's really odd. So there was this article on the Hollywood Reporter, and it's quite interesting because it's like House of the Dragon and Rings of Power are facing, epic headaches. And I was like, House of the Dragon? It's like House of the Dragon has had incredible viewership.
Yeah.
Some people said that they didn't stick the landing on the end of the last, the end of the last season. But for the viewership is insane. Like everyone loves it. So I was like, well, this is a bit odd. So essentially what that is, just to clarify, because we're not going to get into that, just George R.R. Martin banging on about, they've made loads of changes and I don't like it and I can't be bothered to write my own books anymore and whatever. No one cares. No one cares.
Everybody's giving up on him finishing those books anyways.
Exactly. He crawls out the woodwork every so often and he makes an excuse as to why he can't finish his books. Like, just shut up, mate. No one cares. Okay, no one cares anymore. Shut up, go away. But the Rings of Power stuff was quite interesting. It was quite interesting. So we'll just take a look and see what because there's a few things in here. I mean, the Stinger said 5 seasons. They've doubled down. They are 100% committed to 5 seasons of this drivel. Right? They're like, no, we're doing it. 5 seasons. We're all in. Which I think they have to do it. I think it's part of their contract. It's unconfirmed. But here's some numbers for you, right? So, for Rings of Power, they say the issue is familiar. It doesn't really matter. $715 million series. That's not everything. They've still got more seasons to make.
That's what they've spent. So that's what they spent so far.
Supposedly.
On the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, that's insane.
I guarantee you they haven't even made half of that.
I don't think they made anything.
Yeah.
It's a lot, isn't it? Surely.
I don't get how it's possible. I honestly don't get how it's possible. Unless you're literally you're making like cup holders out of gold for the crew or whatever.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It reminds me of that scene from Independence Day when they're on the airplane and they're talking about Area 51 and they're like, how do you get funding for something like this? And they got one guy's like, you don't think they spend like $10,000 on a hammer, $15,000 on a toilet seat? It's like, what are you spending this money on? Because it's obviously not on the writing staff because they suck.
Right, yeah. Well, we'll get to that in a minute with what they say there. I mean, the number. So they switched from New Zealand to the UK between season 1 and season 2, which was weird. But then they're still going to be making more money here anyway because they'll be spending less money here because they'll be able to claim some of it back from
the tax credits,
the tax. Which is really good because actually we'll get a detailed breakdown of it all, so we'll actually know exactly how much they have spent. And I bet you anything it's going to be more than this. But they would have had to have rebuilt sets. They would have had to have, just relocating everything, building sets from scratch again. Like that's a lot to do. It's a hell of a lot to do. But this is astronomical. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like it's really really odd. But that's not it. Oh no. So they say here they're talking about the show overall, right? They say the consensus is that the new run is firmly an improvement. I didn't think so, but some critics and fans maintain it's not as strong as it should be. Many contrast the show to Peter Jackson's Oscar-winning trilogy, and how can you not, even though that saga arguably set an impossibly high bar for a prequel series to follow. I disagree. I think you can easily follow that. Like, I'm not saying easily, but given the right writing, there's a lot you could do with a prequel that would be really interesting. So that's not a get out of jail free card. And then they say the show's Rotten Tomatoes scores are similar to the first, very good 83% among critics, disappointing 58% amongst fans, some percentage of whom seem angrily determined to watch every episode while simultaneously insisting the show is unwatchable. Yeah, you can observe something and still know it's unwatchable from a perspective of enjoyment. That's clearly what they mean. And Hollywood Reporter's being dense by not, by trying to allude to not knowing that that's a thing. So anyway, and then it goes here. So just these are great statements. This is from the showrunner. The Fellowship. Okay, apparently the article had a spaz out. The Fellowship had to look to each other and those to support it and remember what it's fighting for, said J.D. Payne, who is showrunning along with Patrick McKay. And when we see that millions of people are watching this and responding so positively to it, that's who we're fighting for.
What?
And those who watch every episode and negatively write about it on social media and make YouTube videos, we're happy to have you guys too. It wouldn't be a journey through Middle Earth without some trolls along the way. That's right, ladies and gents. Everyone's just a troll. Okay? People that don't like it, you're just a troll.
Yeah, just a hater coping with how good it is. Yeah. It's just cope. Because we can't deal with how great it really is.
And the thing is, a large majority of the people that are trashing on this are huge Lord of the Rings fans who know the lore inside and out. They want a good show. These people aren't just trying to troll or hate on it just to generate some hate clicks. Most people that get lumped into that category would much rather talk positively about a show and love it and try to get everybody else on board too. And when we talk negative about it, we want our voices to be heard. So maybe they'll listen and change it and make it better, but no, we're just trolls, that's what they resort to, or racists or bigots or, whatever other names they want to say.
You know what the interesting thing about this show is between season 1 and season 2, they had quite a gap. Like it was like 2 years, right? They actually had the opportunity to listen to the feedback, right? Like they actually, they quite literally moved the production from New Zealand to the UK. They had the opportunity to listen to the feedback, but they actively chose not to. And it was revealed in an interview where the showrunner was like, no, we had season 2 mapped out already. Yeah, no, we just kept to what we wanted to do. It's like, right, that is incredibly moronic.
Yeah,
like I did a video earlier on this, and I used the weird analogy, but it does make a lot of sense because there's a lot of ingredients here that could be good, right? But there's a lot that's really bad, and so it's like me setting up a bake stall, right? I'm baking cakes, Nate's Bakes. And I got all the really nice chocolate cakes, really all great ingredients, high end, some organics, some, proper good dairy butter, all this kind of stuff. And then I lay a massive turd in one of the cakes, right? And I sell it, and people are like, you know what? I mean, this is really, really nice. And then they get to the shit layer because I took a massive deuce in it. And then they're like, sorry, what? What is this? And I just go, yes, good, isn't it? And they go, I mean, it would be if you just, didn't shit in it. And I go, nah, I'm going to leave that in all my cakes from now on. I've got the opportunity to have a good business.
And then call them a troll.
Yeah, and then I'm like, just don't troll me, all right? Yeah. Don't troll me, bro. It's this, it is, look, it's an odd analogy, but it makes sense.
Yeah, be positive. Enjoy the shit. Be positive.
Yeah, just eat that shit.
Yeah. Eat it and love it. You're going to like it. Yeah, it makes no sense. They had the
opportunity to change it, and they didn't want to. Like,
you know what it's like when something's good, though, as well, right? When something's good, I did a handful of streams a few months back, all about Band of Brothers. Remember Band of Brothers? Years ago now, it came out in like the year 2000 or 2001, so it's actually quite old now.
Great show,
and it's sort of almost universally liked. Some people that really aren't into war stuff might not like it, but nearly everyone else. because it's sort of obvious that it's good, right? And this is obvious that it's bad. I think when they do polling, political polling, quite often it's quite a small section of people. Nowadays, actually, it's deliberately very small, but it used to be the case that you could say to a fair degree of certainty that if you polled 1,000 people sort of randomly, you actually got a fairly good idea of public opinion, right? So if there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, or even millions of people watching it, and the general consensus is it's crap, that means it is crap. That just means it is, right? It's not a matter of like personal politics, or it's not really a matter of trolling and coping or anything like that. It's kind of objectively crap if hundreds of thousands of people are saying it is.
Yeah.
And so if you don't want to listen to that, then you're digging your own grave. Simple
and
as
that's
that.
what happened with The Acolyte too. And so many other shows, Doctor Who. I mean, you could, the list goes on and on. You could name tons.
Well, it's actually worse than just thousands or hundreds of thousands, because even by their own metrics, we can extrapolate that and use exactly the same example that you've just given, Bo. The company has said 40 million viewers worldwide have watched at least one of the first 3 episodes of season 2, right? So if you're going to say 40 million people have watched it, but we know that the Rotten Tomatoes score is 58%, right? So that's worryingly close to a 50-50 split, okay? But then you extrapolate even further than that, and we know that in the US alone, they've lost half of their own viewership because we use Nielsen ratings, and is it Samba TV for this one? Samba TV confirmed that it was down in the first 4 days by literally 50%. So we know that they've lost 50% of their own audience, but 50% are still, nearly 50% are still saying that they hate it. I mean, that's really bad. It's objectively, as you said, shit. Yeah. But you can't argue with it.
Yeah. The numbers don't lie. I mean, in the normal course of events, if you're running any kind of business, or even in our game, getting subs and followers and things, or if it's a share price you're looking at, perhaps anything like that. If you're not growing, then you're in trouble. If you're shrinking by 1, 2, 3, 5%, you're in real trouble. If you're losing like 10% of your audience or your market share or anything like that, you're in real trouble. You're dying on your ass, right? Yeah. If you lost 50%, it's atrocious. That's a full blown fail. You don't deserve to keep going. You really don't.
But again, just to confirm, where is it? A third season has been in the works for months, though it's not yet officially green-lighted. After seeing season 2's premiere ratings, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter the company remains committed to the show's original 5-season plan.
Wow. I guess they just like throwing money away. I mean, they are going to lose their asses on this show. And I said this months ago. It wouldn't surprise me if they turn the final 3 seasons of this into an animated thing.
Oh no, they won't. I bet you they won't. I bet you they'll just double down. They don't care. They're going to keep going. They're going to keep going. Full steam ahead to oblivion.
Yeah.
It seems like
just keep throwing money into it.
Seems like one of 2 things must be happening here. Either, as you say, Nate, they're just absolutely committed to riding it to the bitter end and imploding themselves. Or maybe that statement about the company remains committed to 5 seasons. Maybe I don't really even care one way or the other, but maybe it's that thing that someone enjoys the full confidence of the board. If you know that when they say, or I enjoy the full confidence of the prime minister or something, that actually means in translation is you're a whisker away from being yeeted. Or fired. Sometimes that's what that means. Often that's what that means. I wonder if that's the case here. Like I say, I don't even care one way or the other. But it's weird. One way or another, it's weird.
So I don't know whether it was. I don't know where it came from, but I'm pretty certain they have to do 5 seasons.
Yeah, I think that was in the contract that came out. I want to say it was either Variety or the Hollywood Reporter that reported that a long time ago, like a year or two ago.
But what a bad contract that Amazon signed, that they have to do 5 seasons. I can't imagine there must be a way of them to get out of that as a contract. Surely. Can't have to do 5 seasons. Like,
surely they would have put something in there, some sort of clause in there that if it doesn't meet certain expectations, they have the option to pull out of any further seasons of the show. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them not to have that clause in that contract, because otherwise, if their plan fails, they're stuck having to keep throwing money into this thing, which is the position that they're in right now.
Usually with most contracts, there will be a way to get out of it. Like obviously not always.
Yeah.
But mostly there are. If you're like Steve, I'm sure Amazon have got a giant team of high-powered lawyers. I would have thought there'd be a way out, even if it costs them loads of money. And also, with like my experience sort of over the years of F1 drivers, their contracts, one of the things you can do is you just renege on the contract, and then you're open to legal being taken to court for doing that. But if that's less money or less headache than going through the contract, then people do that as well. So it might be that Amazon have got no way out of the contract, although you can still just back out. And then, as I say, they'll be taken to court and sued and whatever. But that's almost certainly going to be less than paying another $700 million per season. Whatever that happens in that court case, right, will be less than that. So, I mean, who knows? But I don't shed a tear for Amazon.
No, definitely not.
No, not at all. No, my God, no. No. Maybe this is a tax break for them. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they're like, whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I mean, any of those losses, they'll just put those at the end of the year on their tax returns, and they'll just count it as losses, and
Plus, Amazon. It is one of those companies that, no one's got endless money. Even Elon hasn't got endless money. But, Amazon is up there where I imagine to Bezos, 700 mil, it isn't, it doesn't come close to breaking the bank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's chump change almost.
Yeah. Chump change. Yeah. Almost.
Crazy. Well, there you go. If you know what's sad about this is if it was at least good to hate watch, at least I'll be able to make some money out of it with bad reviews, but I can't even be bothered to do that because it's genuinely not even worth that. Like, it's not even funny. It's actually just boring. It's the worst thing any piece of visual media can be, right? Like, it's just boring.
Yeah. It didn't have that funny good roast element like the Acolyte had.
Nope. Nah, sadly.
Yeah.
Sadly not. Well, we'll move on from this now.